Hi there guys, it's Steve from Coils and Coins Detecting and welcome to another video. In this video here, I've actually had a lot of requests from subscribers and people who have watched my other videos to do a video on the differences between the Equinox 600 and the 800. As a lot of people do have the 600, and I've put out some videos on advanced settings and basic settings for the Equinox 800 primarily. And that's fine. The basic settings will work the same, but the advanced settings, there are some limitations on the 600, which mean you won't be able to take advantage of those. But in light of all of that, and from the as I say, from the comments I've had, I thought I might do a video on the 600 versus the 800. So both machines look the same. There's no difference in their build quality. There's no difference in the coils you can use on them, the shafts they come with, anything like that. That's all the same. The 600 though, when you buy it, it does come with some wired headphones only, whereas the 800 comes with the ML80 low latency Bluetooth headphones, and the 800 also comes with the WM08 wireless module, which allows you to wirelessly connect from that module to the control box on the Equinox, and then you can plug any wired headphones you like into the control box and secure it somewhere on your body. So essentially you can use wired headphones with a wireless connection between the detector and your person. So that just gives you that added flexibility, but that doesn't come with the 600, not in the box anyway. Having said all that, the 600 is capable of supporting Bluetooth headphones, so you can buy those later. You can buy the Equinox ones or any other aptX low latency style Bluetooth headphones, or earbuds for that matter. There are a few different ones around. Or you can buy the wireless module separately and use that with the 600, but they just don't come in the box, that's all. But the machine is capable of supporting them, so that's important. Okay, so just looking at the control panel on the machines, when you look at those control panels side by side, they look identical except for this button here, which is the user profiles button. So on the 800, there's an additional button here on the side called the user profile button, and what that lets you do is store a custom setting in the machine. So with one press of this button, you'll have your custom setting activated. Press it again and it'll deactivate that custom setting. And this is just an extra setting that you can store. That is not on the 600, so that's an immediate difference when you look at the two control panels. But otherwise, the buttons are all the same, and all the side buttons here are all the same. The other difference you'll find is on the 800 with the backlight. The backlight has got, so it's got a full brightness setting, medium brightness, low brightness, and off. With the 600, you have high brightness or full. Originally with version 1 of the software, you only had on and off basically. But then when version 2 came out, there was an update that added the low brightness setting as well. So with the 600 you have full, low, and the low is the same as the 800's low, and then you have off. So that's the difference there. So with the 800, just the one additional backlight mode, which is medium brightness. Not a big deal, I don't think. Most of the time you'll either be using low or it'll be off. Low is more than bright enough in the dark, so I've found anyway. The next obvious differences, on the 800 you're going to have 8 different search modes. On the 600 there are only 6 search modes. So on the 800 you got Park 1, Park 2, you got Field 1, Field 2, Beach 1, Beach 2, but then with the 800, and you don't have these with the 600, on the 800 you have Gold 1 and Gold 2. So they're missing from the 600. Other than that, you've got the others there the same. Park 1, Park 2, Field 1, Field 2, Beach 1, Beach 2 on the 600. So that is one of the main differences as well. The other thing we'll look at is, now I've only got version 2 of the software on here because I didn't really like version 3, so I'll roll back to version 2. But with version 3, that introduced a 4 kilohertz single frequency. So both the 600 and the 800 have multi-frequency, but when you go into the single frequencies using the frequency button here, if you've got version 3 installed, the first frequency you'll hit will be 4 kilohertz. Then the next one will be 5 kilohertz. Then you've got 10, and then you've got 15. So both the Equinox 600 and the Equinox 800 have the same 4 frequencies up to this point. Now the 800 has 2 additional frequencies. It's got 20 kilohertz and 40 kilohertz. So that's the main difference there. But when you're in multi, both machines are using all the frequencies. So in multi they're the same, but in single frequency mode there is a difference. The 800 has the 20 and 40 in addition to the other ones, whereas the 600 stops at 15 kilohertz. So that is an important difference as well. The higher frequencies, the 20 and 40 kilohertz, generally good for very small targets, and they are also good frequencies to use if you're in a high electrical interference or electromagnetic interference area where you've got a lot of chatter. Sometimes I'll drop into 40 kilohertz or 20 kilohertz to avoid that chatter. But 15 kilohertz works fairly well too. So with the 600 machine, you might go to 15 to get rid of that chatter instead of the 20 and 40, which you won't have available to you. Okay, so what we'll do now is move through the menus, the settings menu. So to go into settings, you just press the cog button for settings, and I'll just get to the first setting option. Okay, so the first one is noise cancel. Both machines have noise cancel capability. The difference is on the 600 you only have the auto noise cancel. With the 800 you have an auto noise cancel and also a manual override, which lets you manually go up and down channels using the plus and minus buttons to find a slightly better channel if you like, or a different channel. If you're detecting with somebody else who's using an Equinox machine, you might want to manually choose your channels. But honestly, auto noise cancel is really all I ever use, and 99% of the time it's going to be perfectly fine, and it's all you'll need. So there is a difference there. Okay, so the next thing I'll talk about is the tone breaks and tone volumes and threshold pitch and tone pitch. So these are some of the menus that we'll go through. So we'll move across from noise balance to ground balance. Ground balance functionality is the same on both machines, so no difference at all there. Volume adjustment, again, you can go from 0 right up to 25. I've got it down at 15 just because I'm inside and it's quite loud if I turn it up to full. But the volume control settings are the same in the basic menu for both machines. Threshold level, again, you can increase this and decrease this on both machines. There's no difference there. Target tones, both machines have the same, 55, 2 and 1. Accept, reject, both machines have the same ability here to notch out targets from 0, -9 right round to 40 as you need to. And recovery speed, this is a little bit different. Recovery speed on the 800, you can go from 1 all the way up to 8 with your recovery speed settings. Now on the 600, the range is from 1 to 3. So there is a difference in the range there from 1 to 3. But having said that, all it really means is that on the 800 you have a finer more fine tuning that you can do. So recovery speed 1 is about the same, I think, on both machines. On the 800, recovery speed of 3 would be roughly equivalent, so 3 or 4 would roughly be equivalent to 2 on the 600 machine, and then 8 would probably be the same as 3 on the Equinox 600 machine. So you still have recovery speed settings that you can adjust, but on the 800 you've got a few more in-between settings that you can choose that the 600 doesn't offer. But yeah, you still get more or less the same response there. Whether you want to swing the coil quickly and you want a fast recovery speed, or you swing it slowly for a lower recovery speed, you've got those options there. Okay, so from here, we'll dive now into the advanced settings and show you some basic differences there. Okay, so the first one we'll look at would be tone breaks. So under accept reject, if we hold the settings button in for a couple of seconds, you'll see there's an underline underneath the setting option here for accept reject, and now we're in advanced settings. Now on the 800 machine, we can adjust all 5 segments. So I can go around to each segment here and adjust the tone breaks for every segment. On the 600 machine though, the only one you can adjust is T1, which is the ferrous signal range. You can increase and decrease this range. And what that does there, because I think the defaults would be -9 to 0 for ferrous. Mine's been adjusted because I take my my first segment right up to 5, because I don't want to hear in Park 1. I don't want to hear, you know, from -9 right through to 5 typically. Sometimes I'll adjust this, but that's kind of my go-to. So that's not a bad setting to have the option to adjust, but you can't change any of the others on the 600 machine. So just bear that in mind. And that's the same with the other advanced settings. The only segment you can adjust is T1, which is the ferrous signal range. So if we go across then to tone volume, which is just under volume adjust, you hold the settings button in. Again, we've got 5 segments here. On the 800 machine, we can adjust the volume of each segment individually. On the 600 machine, we can only adjust the volume of the first segment, T1. So that just again is your ferrous range typically. So that is limited, a little limited in that respect. Tone pitch, again, under target tones, hold the settings button in. Same thing here, T1 through to T5. We can adjust all of those on the 800. On the 600 machine, we can only adjust the tone pitch for the ferrous range, which is the first segment, T1. So that is a slight limitation there. And then the last thing we'll look at on the advanced settings would be under threshold level. If we go into advanced settings on the 800, we can change the pitch of the threshold. On the 600, you can't come into this menu at all. You can't adjust the pitch of the threshold. For a lot of people, that's not going to really matter. If you're doing, if you like a threshold, which I do, I like setting a 4, and I like to hear that hum in the background. Some people don't like that, so if you like to hear that hum, you're not going to be able to change the pitch of it on the 600, but you still have your threshold. So not such a big deal, but just be aware that that is a difference. Now the only other thing I want to mention that's different is the iron bias settings. So we go into recovery speed and into iron bias settings. Now both machines offer FE iron bias settings, and by pressing accept reject while we're in here, we can switch to F2. Both machines offer FE and F2, so there's that option. And F2 came in the version 2 upgrade. So in the version 1 upgrade, or version 1 software, sorry, there's only FE. In version 2, F2 came along, and both machines support that. The difference though is that the ranges are different. So with the Equinox 800, the range goes from 0 to 9. So FE goes from 0 right up to 9. On the 600 machine though, the range is from 0 to 3. So again, you've got a bit more fine tuning with the 800 machine. But when you compare the two, 0 on both machines is 0 on both machines. On the Equinox 800, FE of 3 would be equivalent to 1 on the 600 machine. Then FE of 6 would be equivalent to 2 on the 600 machine, and 9 is equivalent to 3 on the 600. F2, it's a similar story. The range on the 800 is 0 to 9, and on the 600 machine, it's 0 to 3. same basic idea. The range is narrower on the 600 machine, but you can still increase and decrease within that range. It's just with the 800 machine, you do have a little bit more of a fine tuning capability there. So that's the iron bias. So that's more or less the differences between the two machines. Both machines very capable, very, very good machines. The 600 is a perfectly good machine for most situations. It's really when you want to get into fine tuning your advanced settings that the 800 comes into its own. And if you want to do a bit of gold detecting, the 800 obviously has the extra search modes. Having said that, field 2 and park 2 settings, even the beach settings, they will all find gold, no problem at all, because gold rings and gold necklaces, things like that, you can certainly find those on the field settings and the beach settings and the park settings for that matter, because it's still just as sensitive, and you can still find those targets. Generally, the things like fine gold chains and that sort of thing on the beach will be very, very low target IDs, like 1, 2, 3. I've even heard of them being in the negatives, sounding a bit like iron. So you can still find those targets. It's just you don't have that specific gold mode on the 600 machine that you can use, which is fine-tune things a bit more for finding small gold nuggets and the like. So that is a major difference there. But everything else is pretty similar. I've done some videos on the advanced settings. I've also done some videos on the basic settings for hunting in parks and the like. So the basic settings pretty much apply to the 600 and the 800. Probably the only thing that would be any different would be the recovery speed. As I mentioned, on the 600 the range is narrower, but you can still move from high recovery to low recovery. It's just your numbers are going to be from 1 to 3 instead of from 1 to 8. So just keep that in mind. But all the other settings would be the same for basic setup, and I'll put a link to my basic setup video there. With the advanced setup video though, that's not going to be doable on the 600, except for the ferrous range on the tone breaks and the tone pitch, etc. You can only change T1, as I mentioned there, not the others. So just be aware of that if you're looking at the advanced settings video that I've done and you have a 600 machine. Okay, so that's pretty much it, guys. That's all of the differences I can think of. If you can think of some others, please leave me a comment. If the video is useful to you, please like, please subscribe as I release other videos. They might be useful to you, and hopefully you get something out of it. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching the video. Good luck hunting, and I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.